Hi folks, my name is Bill Cook. Today is August the 9th, 2021. Earlier this month, I took my property tax fight all the way to a jury trial. According to the judge, the defendant's attorney, my attorney, and the tax assessor's office, no one, and this goes back 25 years, remembers any taxpayer appealing their property taxes to Superior Court. I gotta tell you, it feels good knowing that I'm walking in such rarefied air. So why did I do it? After all, if I just paid the extra property tax on the 3 properties, it would have cost an extra, what, $1,000? On the other hand, by pushing this case into Superior Court, I paid a heck of a lot more than $1,000. And think about all the hours I spent getting ready for court. What do you think my time was worth? So why did I do it? I feel the Bartow County Tax Assessor's office valued our rent properties way too high. My mother taught me long ago that silence is a form of acceptance. Because I didn't accept the tax assessor's value, as a taxpayer, I spoke up. It truly was as simple as that. Ever hear of the Boston Tea Party? Maybe you should brush up on your history. So how did the case go? Well, first of all, I agreed to combine the 3 property tax fights into one case. So one jury, one trial. I won one of the fights and I lost the 2 others. But more on the outcome in a bit. So can you fight City Hall and win? Yeah, but the bureaucrats make it very, very difficult. They are experienced at wearing you down, at grinding you into dust. Where do you think the phrase, "you can't fight City Hall," came from? I began fighting our property taxes in 2006. Through 2019, I've appealed our property taxes 149 times in 4 separate counties. We've won 126 times. This is an 82% winning percentage. Not bad, huh? But let's make this more understandable. On average, over the last 15 years, Kim and I have appealed our value on 10 of our properties each year. Of the 10 appeals we make, we win 8 of them. Fighting our property taxes has saved us tens of thousands of dollars over the years. So you tell me, does it pay to fight your property taxes? Property tax law is written in its own language. It's a unique language. This language must be learned. As it is with learning any language, it takes work, persistence, and much effort. Also, know that along the way, you're gonna get your teeth kicked in a number of times. This happens because you don't know what you don't know. Call it the school of hard knocks. Point is, you learn from your mistakes and come out the other end of the tax assessor's meat grinder smarter and wiser. And if you're like most of us, you don't repeat mistakes. A big problem most people have with fighting their property taxes, and this is why most taxpayers don't fight their property taxes, is they don't know what to do. There's no one out there who will tell you how to fight and how to win your property tax battles. Example, 28 people were called in as prospective jurors in my court case. The tax assessor's office asked them all a very interesting question. Have you ever fought your property taxes? Not one raised their hand. Why not? Why hadn't a single prospective juror ever fought their property taxes? Maybe because it's so intimidating? Maybe they believe you can't fight City Hall. Here's something else to think about. If one of the prospective jurors had fought their property taxes in the past, what do you want to bet that the tax assessor's office would have booted them off the jury? If appealing one's property taxes is the American thing to do, if the system is easy and fair, why would the tax assessor's office want folks who fought their property taxes in the past to not be on the jury? Riddle me that one, Batman. By the way, I also noticed that the tax assessor's office kicked off every prospective juror who were in business for themselves. Interesting, huh? I thought profiling was wrong, and that's profiling. Folks, all this "you can't fight City Hall" nonsense is about to change. Beginning in 2022, Kim and I will begin teaching folks how to fight their property taxes and win. I can't wait to pull back the curtain and show you what goes on behind it. I make you this promise. When you see what goes on behind this mysterious curtain, your jaw will hit the ground. You think the system is a pro-taxpayer system? Think again, my friend. Here's a quick overview of our 2019 property tax fight. In June of 2019, I received the annual notice of assessment for our properties from the Bartow County Tax Assessor's office. On July 11th, 2019, I sent in our appeal on these 3 properties. I believe the Tax Assessor's office set the values too high on these properties. On September the 16th, 2019, I received a reply from the Tax Assessor's office. They did not lower the value on any of their properties by so much as a penny. I immediately appealed to the Board of Equalization. On November the 4th, 2019, I paid the property taxes on all our properties in Bartow County. On December the 9th, 2019, I went in front of the Board of Equalization. They lowered the value on one property by 3.4%. That was on Stonebridge. But they left the other 2 property values unchanged. On December the 30th, 2019, I appealed the Board of Equalization's decision to the Bartow County Superior Court. I felt the values that Bartow County placed on my 3 rental properties was much too high. On February the 7th, 2020, I attended the Superior Court Settlement Conference. Because the Tax Assessor's office would not reduce the values on any of our properties by so much as a dime, no compromise was reached. In March 2020, the China virus hit. Though my case should have immediately gone to Superior Court in 2020, because the courts were shut down, my case was delayed until August the 2nd, 2021. When appealing one's property taxes to Superior Court, the taxpayer has the option of requesting a judge to reach the verdict, or the taxpayer can request a jury trial. Because I wanted to be judged by 12 of my peers, I elected for a jury trial. The trial lasted 2 days. It was the second half of Monday, and then it finished up on the first half of Tuesday. The jury returned their verdict around 12:30 on Tuesday, August the 3rd, 2021. I'm going to give details about the jury's verdict in a few minutes. The 3 properties I appealed were income-producing properties. 2 were single-family rentals, and the 3rd was a house with a small mobile home park behind it. Let's talk about the 3 different methods that are used to determine a property's fair market value. When it comes to single-family houses, by far the most common method used is called the market appraisal approach, also known as the comparable sales approach. The appraiser looks at the sale price of other properties that are similar to yours and in the same vicinity. From this, your property's fair market value is determined. When it comes to single-family houses, the Bartow County Tax Assessor's office uses this method almost exclusively. In the case of our 3 rental properties I appealed, this is the appraisal method they chose to use. The second appraisal method is called the income appraisal approach. This method can be used if the property is an income-producing property. In other words, if the property is a rental property. Georgia code lists things like apartment buildings, strip shopping centers, mobile home parks, RV parks, storage units, and yes, even single-family rental homes as income-producing properties. When using the income appraisal approach, a property's value is determined by using a mathematical equation. Basically, you list the gross rent the property can earn if it were 100% occupied. Next, subtract vacancies out for that year. Next, subtract expenses for that year. Next, divide this amount by the capitalization rate, and out pops the rental property's fair market value according to the income appraisal approach. Because the 3 properties we appealed to Superior Court are rental properties, I believe the income appraisal approach should carry substantial weight when determining the rental property's fair market value. In fact, I've been using this method since 2010 in a number of counties that we hold properties in. The problem, and the reason I fought back, was beginning in 2019, the Bartow County Tax Assessor's office gave no weight to the income approach if the property was a single-family rental home or a house with a small mobile home park behind it. This is the reason Kim and I decided to fight back. On this, our case was based. I wanted to know once and for all whether we were right or wrong. I wanted someone outside the system, a jury of my peers, to tell me whether the income appraisal approach, as Georgia law states, shall be considered when determining an income-producing property's fair market value, even if that property is a single-family home. Now, the third method that is used to appraise a property is called the cost appraisal approach. With this method, the appraiser determines what the property would cost to replace it. In other words, how much would it cost to rebuild the property from the ground up? This method is commonly used by insurance companies when you ask for replacement cost insurance. Few tax assessors' offices use this approach. We've never used this approach because the value this method achieves is often well above the value reached when using either the market or income approach. Okay, now to tell you about the verdict the jury reached. First, know this. We had a very good judge and a great jury. The tax assessor's attorney was a very nice man. He was good and fair. Our attorney was extraordinary. I could not have been happier with his performance. He did a phenomenal job at proving our case. At trial, there were a number of important points I wanted to get across to the jury. These 3 points were, number one, I wanted the jury to understand that for tax purposes, a single-family rental and an owner-occupant house, though they're both houses and they look the same, are different for tax purposes. Second, I wanted the jury to know that Georgia law, as it concerns income-producing property, is very clear. The law states if a property is an income-producing property, which a single-family house is, the income appraisal approach to value shall be considered. Third, I wanted the jury to agree with my definition of shall be considered. I believe this to mean that if an income-producing property is being appraised by the tax assessor's office, the income appraisal approach must carry significant weight in determining that property's fair market value. I believed my attorney succeeded at driving these 3 very important points home. Shep did just a great job. Bottom line, everything about our trial was fair. The judge, the jury, and the attorneys. With the end of closing arguments, I didn't have a single complaint. We made our very best case. The tax assessor's office made their very best case. I stand by the jury's decision, whatever that decision may be. During the break in the trial, just before the attorneys were to make their closing statements, I told Jared, he's with the Bartow County Tax Assessor's office, that if the jury gave little or no weight to the income approach, I would no longer use that tool as a way of fighting our property taxes. After about 45 minutes of deliberating, the jury of 12 reached a unanimous decision on the 3 properties. With Clubhouse Drive, and this is the house that has a small mobile home park behind it, they dropped the value by nearly 30%. With Elm Street, and this is a single-family rental, they left the value unchanged. In other words, they didn't drop the value by so much as a dime. The third property was Stonebridge Court. This is a single-family rental. They left this value also unchanged. Bottom line, I won the appeal on Clubhouse Drive and lost the appeals on Elm Street and Stonebridge Court. So what does the jury's verdict mean? I believe because Clubhouse Drive includes a small mobile home park, the jury determined it's an income-producing property and the income appraisal approach should play a significant role when the tax assessor's office determines that property's fair market value. That's why they dropped the value by 30%. With both Elm and Stonebridge, the jury was very, very clear. When valuing a single-family rental, the income approach is not the best method to use to determine that sort of property's fair market value. Instead, the tax assessor's office should use the market appraisal approach, also known as comparable sales approach, and not give any weight to the income appraisal approach. Conclusion: moving forward, when fighting our property taxes on single-family rentals, we will use the comparable sales approach to prove our values. In addition, we'll use another technique that I did not talk about during the video called the uniformity approach. Now, when fighting our property taxes on Clubhouse Drive, because it's a home with a small mobile home park, I'll continue using the income appraisal approach because that was the decision the jury reached. Now, time for my final thoughts. I'm very disappointed I wasn't able to make my case to the jury. We did our absolute best. I firmly believe that a rental property and an owner-occupant house are different for tax purposes. Because a single-family rental house is an income-producing property, I think the tax assessor's office should give weight and use the income approach when determining that property's value. But that didn't happen. Jury has spoken. Enough said. I believe the jury, and it was a very good jury, went along with the old saying, if it looks like a duck, and if it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. In other words, even though I believe an income-producing rental, single-family rental is different from an owner-occupant house for tax purposes, they see the two as the same. And when determining that property's value, the tax assessor's office should use the market approach to determine that property's value, not the income approach. I'm very glad I fought this fight. I've been using the income approach since 2010 in Bartow County, successfully too. In 2019, when the tax assessor's office changed the rules, I wanted to know whether they were right or I was right. And in the end, the jury spoke. The tax assessor's office was right. When it comes to a single family house, be it a rental or owner occupied, the market appraisal approach should be used. I'm forever grateful that I live in America, where I have the freedom to fight this fight, to go to the government and say, no, I disagree with you. Maybe it was a tough fight. Maybe fighting your property taxes is a tough thing, but at least you have the right to do that. And there are a lot of countries where you do not have that right. I'm very grateful. I want to thank Kim. Since starting to fight my property taxes in 2006, and the long journey all the way along, as I learned different techniques and what worked and what didn't work, she stuck right by my side. I know that I've driven her crazy about property taxes, but it was a thing that means a lot to me. And again, she stuck right by my side. I'm very, very grateful to the woman who I love most in the world. Thank you, Kim. Finally, I cannot wait for 2022 and to start teaching people how to fight their property taxes and win, to pull back the curtain so people can see what's back there, so they can learn the rules and regulations from someone who's been doing this for 15 years successfully, how to fight their property taxes and win. Nothing will make me feel better than doing that. Y'all take care. Have a great day. Love you guys. Bye-bye.